Hello and welcome to another episode of Four Tims in a Podcast. You join us on Tuesday the 5th of August. We're just going to review the weekend, some interesting results, a massive late winner for Celtic thanks to Luke McCowan, a few drop points for other teams that you might not have expected, and the transfer news and the big surprise of our new centre-half, which nobody seen coming today. So, Danny, first of all, I guess we'll go back to Saturday. I had a terrible fear that come today we would be 2 points behind Rangers in the league, but it hasn't quite panned out that way at the minute.
No, it hasn't, and I think it's fair to say you've been quite pessimistic about the start of the season, and for good reason, for what we've seen off the pitch for Celtic so far. I think if you would have told us that was going to be the 11 that started the game for Celtic, before we go on to Saturday before, but if you'd have said that was going to be Celtic's starting 11 for the first league game of the season, I don't think anybody really would have believed you, even 6 months ago. But aye, Saturday, we were, as you say, you thought we would be two behind. I think I kind of held out hope along with the other two that we'd maybe be going into Sunday with a chance to go clear of them already, and it worked out like that. I never seen any. I was back home this weekend visiting my mum, so I listened to the first 15 minutes on the radio, and then when they scored I turned it off, and then I hope Andy will not mind me saying it, but the chat was just full of Andy getting on about how close I think every time Andy wrote a message, it was another chance Motherwell had missed. And I think he was pulling his hair out that they hadn't scored. And then with about 5 minutes to go, I'd noticed that they had scored. And I think it was a bit of a VAR delay, but they went in, and then I just automatically assume the worst when they're playing, that they'll score, they'll get a penalty or something. But finishing not an each, and I had a wee pep misstep on Saturday night, thinking, because I was going to the game on Sunday, and obviously tying in with you and that, and we were all quite optimistic heading into the Celtic game. And I think it was a nice wee reminder that although Celtic maybe haven't done what's needed to be done so far, and they're very, very inactive in the transfer window, at least on the outside, you know what I mean? They've not gave us any reason to suspect that they're actually trying to get in on the inside either. Just a nice wee reminder that is what we're up against. And the meltdown on Saturday night, even though we're used to it by them being out, I thought Saturday night's reaction, especially for the manager, we're recording this at the time they've just won 3-0, and Martin looks like a genius because he changed a few players tonight, but for him, he came out after the first 90 minutes of the season and practically pan his team and single out players in particular. I thought I was quite surprised by that.
Aye, I know we've
even
kind of
this early
started
in the
with
season.
them, but I guess it kind of ties into the kind of the predictions we were given last week. It was strange. I watched it with a few boys I went to school with who are of the Rangers persuasion, so after they scored, after, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I thought, here we fucking go. And then Motherwell should have beat them. And I remember watching it and feeling I was back down to earth, and I thought, right, maybe we'll be all right in the league. And then I watched us. I thought, Jesus Christ. I mean, if you look at the team that started for us, you had Yang starting, you had Scales starting, you had Ida wasn't great, I didn't think. I thought the first 20 minutes we were okay. And then it was just very slow and stale. I thought the guy in the Gren, his corners, I think he could get more joy geeing up the crowd than actually putting the ball into the box successfully. It was bad, I thought. And I know we had a few chances and we deserved to win the game, etc. But there is no doubt in my mind we are a lot weaker than this time last year. And there's no excuse for that. There's no way you can watch Brendan Rodgers win the double, compete in the Champions League, take Bayern all the way, and then you decide to weaken them for the next season starting. Like, how inept can you be as a CEO or a transfer committee and all these people involved? Like, how poor can you be at your job that you go, this guy's obviously a good manager, he's a good coach. Why don't we make him weaker for the season starting? It was just so pathetic. I thought Forrest was good when he came on and he affected the game, but to be relying on a 34-year-old winger, it's just, and there was nobody coming off the bench where I went, right, this is it. They're gonna change the game. I know Luke McCowan get the goal, but no looking at him or Engels or Kenny or Trusty and going, oh yes, this is it. The game's gonna flip in its head. Whereas not so long ago, you were swapping Kuhn for Jota. I know it was unlucky that Jota get injured, but you know what I mean, whereby, or even you go further back, you were maybe switching strikers, where it's Kyogo and Giacomakis, stuff like that, and you think, oh, we're going to do well here, but we've just weakened ourselves so much, and we're not going to keep getting away with it. I mean, I don't want to give my Aberdeen prediction just yet, but I remain extremely pessimistic about the league. I think I just don't fancy it at all. I know we're too clear, but I watched some of their game tonight and I thought they looked quite good. Obviously, them dropping points isn't a good start. The fact their fans don't like the manager might go in our favour, but this time last year I wasn't even thinking about them. I was thinking about the Champions League and how can we improve and what can we do. But now I feel as though I've been dragged back down to kind of worrying about the league and the kind of stuff that goes with that, because we seem to be very clearly weakening the squad and the manager, and there is no explanation for it whatsoever. I think the board got very lucky, and so did Nicholson and Lawwell, etc., that McCowan scored. I think that would have turned toxic very, very quickly. I know the board have a lot of defenders, but when I was in the pubs and about Parkhead, there wasn't many people sticking up for their inept transfer dealings. So Aberdeen away up next. I think that'll be a cunt of a game. We've obviously got a Champions League tie as well. We'll come on to that. But what was your thoughts in the game? I mean, I thought overall we were the better team. We did create some good chances, but I think it was a perfect result where we just got over the line, but it kind of exposed to everybody. We need help desperately.
I think it was probably a fair reflection on what the kind of pre-season and transfer window's been like so far. Obviously, I met you before the game. I thought we were going to come out of the traps, fly and score a couple of goals. Because as much as I'm always on here saying you can't look at what they're doing and, they shouldn't be looking at what we're doing, but it's natural to get a boost when they drop points, and I was hoping for a real message for Celtic on Sunday to go out and score a few goals and put a marker down and say, look, we're kind of still here. I thought the first half they were good. I thought the first half we played well. I thought the first 20 minutes Negren looked very good. He was on to Everton first. He looked like he had an eye for a pass. I thought Tierney played really well early on. Him and Mae didn't quite click for they two, but I thought they linked up quite well. And I thought Tierney, and what I noticed was Tierney never left the touchline. He was bombing up and down the wing. There was no invertedness for Tierney. And I didn't think we lost anything in the midfield by not having the fullbacks inverting. I thought we were fine. I thought Hatate always tries that kind of pass. He always tries to make things happen. And I just thought after 25 minutes St Mirren kind of settled in their shape, and we found it really hard to break them down. We should have scored right before half time. It was a good save, and I know Ida missed a couple of headers, a good cross for Tierney that he should have put away. The second half, just they were so flat, and there were no real urgency either, which you don't want them to panic, but I kind of look. I was right behind the goal, just up a wee bit for we were shooting in the second half in the Celtic end, and I was with my cousin, and I remember looking up to him and saying, fuck me, there's only 15 minutes to go. Like, there's been no urgency in this second half, but it's flew in. Like, we've hardly created a chance. I thought the goal being disallowed was really harsh. I know they've made this rule that if the ball hits your horn and it leads to a goal, they chop it off and that's it, but maybe they want to revisit rules like that, because they would never give a penalty for that, so why would they give a foul? But I thought it was maybe going to be one of your days. I thought the ref had a really poor game. I thought he gave every 50-50 St Mirren's way. There was a couple of times where he just kind of gave strange fouls. The way booking Ida was just strange. But I thought Rodgers' subs were like a message to kind of blank Yamada and throw Kenny on when everybody, any news coming from Celtic, if there is such a crumb of transfer speculation, it's usually that Kenny's about to leave. So to throw him on when you're looking for a goal was that probably Rodgers sending a message to the board, which I think is a risky business. Would love Rodgers to get what he wants. Every Celtic fan would, but like if you're going to start doing things like that, it's risky. He got away with it. He got away with it on Sunday. But I'd have put Yamada on, even just to say it's a new player. Let's see what he's got, because we know what Kenny's got, and it's not good enough. So from today, that I thought was a big risk. Forrest was a lot more direct than Yang. I thought Yang ran into trouble an awful lot, and like every time he got the ball he would run on it as if he was going to do something, and then he would cut inside and he would run into something and get it away, and then he wouldn't get back involved in the play. I thought Forrest was much more direct, but you're right, he's 34. If we're relying on him, if we're going to be relying on him every week, we're going to be in trouble this season. It was great in a way that they got the goal at the end. It did take a massive deflection. Thought McCowan looked quite bright when he came on, tried to make things happen, got the goal, but it was kind of the perfect reflection of what's happened so far this season, where it's just been rubbish, but we did get away with it in the end. But I was really surprised, Tony, in the second half, because I didn't think we did enough. I know we had the ball in the net and then we had a few, but I thought every cross into the box was poor. I think he hit the post, he should have bust the net, and I just thought there was a lack of urgency.
It's quite worrying a game in, you're just getting over the line, whereby in days gone by, like last season, Rangers drew 0-0 with Hearts the first game, we went out and absolutely tanked Kelly. And you knew the league was done. We were only two clear. I mean, Rangers drew that game last season, I just knew the league was done just based on what was coming out of the game. But, I mean, at this point, we're 2 points clear. Rangers are going to be in the next round, so that St Mirren game's going to be cancelled. If we win our 3 games and they beat Dundee, we'll go to Ibrox 5 clear. Obviously, they'll have a game in hand, which will be a big opportunity, but I just think we're going to balls it up at Aberdeen. The fact that we don't look... If we were to sign a winger this week, that would totally change my opinion on how I think the Aberdeen game will go. That's how important I think a winger is for us. I just have a bad feeling that I can't shake. I just don't know what we're doing. I don't think we know what we're doing half the time either. And I can't listen to anybody say about there's still loads of time left in the transfer window. There's no loads of time until we go to Pataudry. There's no loads of time until this Champions League qualifier. I think people will be looking at that and going, well, we beat Bratislava 5-1 last year and Karma Almaty or a daft team for Kazakhstan, so we'll be fine either way. If anybody's actually thinking like that, having seen Maribor, Malmo, Cluj, fucking, who else absolutely tanked us? I think some Benish Varos, yes, another Neil Lennon. I just can't be confident getting into these kind of ties. There was another one years ago. I think we won 2-0 at home and get fucked 4-0 away. Efran Juarez scored at home. Was that AIK or EAK? Was that Utrecht?
You,
Fuck, I mean,
that was in the
and
Europa
get
League.
back. The idea that we could just rock up to a Champions League qualifier and waltz in is for the birds. Obviously, Rodgers failed against AEK. That's probably what I was thinking of there. I'm not overconfident. I think if we get the right players in, then we will be capable of getting into the Champions League. Looking at that squad, would you want into the Champions League to play Scales and fucking Yang and Tilio and Kenny and no, you wouldn't want to. Can you imagine playing PSG or something like that? We need to give ourselves a chance, and it's just so pathetic every time. And then you've got obviously this suspended ban they've given the Green Brigade. Says it a million times. If anybody should be banned at Parkhead, it should be the people on the board. It shouldn't be the guys that are coming up with outstanding displays for John Fallon and John Clark and making sure that we've not turned into the Etihad by keeping an atmosphere going. So just crazy stuff really. But it's very Celtic. Whenever you think we're going to kick on, we just go, let's just get back the way. And again, the devaluing of the season ticket continues. A Friday night game against Falkirk, 25 quid for normal punters, absolutely zilch for corporate customers. I just think that sends a terrible message. It's just poor. When they could just give you that free or give you a qualifier free, do something for the fans who back you without question. Well, obviously, annoying cunts like us will question it on a podcast, but most fans just pile the money in and they don't care. So I think to give them something, but
Look, Tony, imagine the Falkirk game, right? That's going to be a Friday night. It's a cup game, League Cup. Why not just put that in a season ticket and guarantee 50,000 to the game? Now, they'll probably, because it's the start of the season, there's every chance we'll get to that number, but why not just guarantee it? What would it cost them to offer because the season tickets went up this year. So what would it cost them to give the fans one game? It's just that they don't make it easy for themselves. There's no even coming out and saying, look, we'll give you the Falkirk game because the Champions. Let's be honest, the qualifier will take care of itself. Folk will buy tickets for that regardless. But like, give the fans that have paid their money the Falkirk game and just guarantee a decent crowd because we're presumably the aim this year's the trebles. This is a kind of first big game in that step, so guarantee a decent crowd. But seems that it's always take, and I wanted to ask you about the atmosphere on Sunday because I thought it was generally really good. I was actually expecting more kind of chance of maybe no sack board, but I thought there might be a wee bit more negativity before the game. I know Like, I know there was there for a flag, and then he did a great display for John Clark. I thought it was phenomenal. But I was expecting a wee bit more kind of anti-board stuff, and it didn't really seem to come. I thought the crowd stayed with the team, but I kind of got, like you, I thought the longer the game went on, if that would have finished not in each, I think it could have been quite toxic, maybe not the word for us early in the season, but I think everybody who's waited weeks and months to voice their frustration.
I think the way they look at it is there's probably 40,000 on the home cup scheme who commit to all home cup games in the hope of getting semi-finals and finals through the home cup draw thing. So they probably went, well, that's an easy million for us because all these daft bastards are already signed up. So that's it. I guess that's just a purely business point of view. I can get it for that point of view, but for kind of having a good relationship with your fans' point of view, you give it for free. But let's be honest, they couldn't give a fuck. They know that we're always going to just support the team and that's it. So if they can get an extra 25 quid out of 40,000 days, whether we turn up or not, I don't think they could care less. In terms of the atmosphere, again, I think the fact that the Huns stopped pointing since Saturday, I think everybody was just desperate to stick with the team and go over the line with the win, and that's how it kind of panned out. So I think that was more a case of, let's not go for the board. But I don't think if we went for the board before the game, it would have got much support because fans would just have been desperate to create that gap early on. You'd have heard the old, causing division, getting in our own way, this is terrible, and support the team, go after the board if the transfers aren't done, or if we don't do this and don't do that. I thought they should have copped it at full time, but again, everybody's on a high. You just want to celebrate, so I can understand that. But I thought the atmosphere was okay. I think overall the atmosphere at Celtic Park is really flat these days. Anyway, I think it's just the Green Brigade and the boys, which is a shame. But it's this idea that it's one of the best atmospheres in the world. It's one of the best atmospheres in the world if we're 5-0 up in a Champions League game or 3-0 up in a Rangers game. Apart from that, it's no this outrageous atmosphere. I know we're 20 minutes in. Andy and Dan aren't here. It's just me and Danny. So if anybody, for whatever reason, only tunes in to listen to they two, you can safely turn off. I would hope that that's not the case. I don't think we'll do predictions. We'll try and get Andy and Dan on for the Aberdeen prediction. Obviously, I get my prediction wrong. I went for one each. I was delighted to get it wrong. On Sunday, you all predicted a win, and we're correct. Oh, I need to talk about the guy. I don't know if you actually pronounce his name Pussy. I'm assuming it isn't pronounced that. But for the sake of this, our podcast ran by idiots, we'll call them pussies for the podcast. So Danny, what do you think of Pussy?
Straight into the starting 11 for me, based on what I seen at the weekend. I think it's Pusey, as he said in his Instagram video, but I don't think many folk will take him up on that, sadly. I think he's a good player. I spoke to a couple of people, like I've seen on Twitter and that was talking about him and know a wee bit about kind of English football. There were a few people that were really impressed with him. I think he won the Player of the Year last year in the reserve league down there, which he's not a great level, but probably enough. City were to sell him, they'd probably sell him for about 20 or 30 million, and he's coming up here for a year to see what it's all about. I think Man City think very highly. I think he was a captain of the reserve team. I think we needed a centre half. We've been saying that all summer. For whatever reason, Rodgers doesn't trusty. Again, thought he looked alright. I didn't think Scales had too bad a game on Sunday, but I came out and folk were telling me he was immense, and I know I had a few scoops before the game, but I didn't think my vision was that impaired. I thought he made a couple of nice interceptions. I still think his use of the ball's really poor. He might find his target with most of his passes, but most of them are behind the player. And we're screaming out for a better defender. I think this boy's got a bit about him. He's maybe, obviously, if he's highly fought at Man City, he's probably a fairly confident character, I would imagine. So looking forward to him starting on the bench and working his way into the team in about 6 weeks. But what about you? I mean, how do you see it? I don't really mind that we're loaning somebody rather than signing him, because at the end of the day, I just would rather it was a good player. And if it's got to be a loan for Man City, then so be it. But what's your view on that? Would you rather we just went out and signed somebody,
Well, the
or are you
last three
content with
centre-halves
developing
we've
other
signed,
clubs'
you can
players?
correct me if I'm wrong, would be Austin Trusty, Mike Narowski, and Gustav Lagerbielke, and a manager doesn't like any of them. So hopefully a loan is a better option. Obviously at the end of it we can return them. I don't think we'll have an option to buy. I guess it's a bit short-sighted, because what happens next year, if he's great, then he's not coming back to us. He's going to play for Man City. So don't get me wrong. Going by what I've read, I think we've got a real talent on our hands. And if you think of the back five, you've got Schmeichel, Tierney, Pusey, CCV, and Johnson. Now that's a good back five, I would think, if this boy's going to be a player. So it gives you a good kind of foundation to build on. And then the likes of Scales can probably play in some Scottish games, and so can Trusty. So then you would kind of have your defence in a decent kind of place, I suppose, with cover. But you would like to see us, if they're that desperate for centre half, to scout and bring in somebody that's actually going to be there for the future. But we're obviously not capable of doing that. Whoever's running the transfers is not capable of identifying and signing a centre half that can come and play for a long period of time. So I guess there's not really much we can do about it. I wish the boy all the best while he's here, and I'm hoping he will be a good player. I don't care if he's right footed. I would just be playing him and Carter Vickers. That would just be my go-to. I think that would give us a strong base. And then I think there's something wrong with the midfield. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's weak. I'd really love, as I know there was a rumour we were in for some boy for Liverpool, I'd really love to go and see us get a strong midfielder that can do the simple things, win the ball and just pass it. And then wingers, fuck me. For the love of God, we need wingers. And I think a lot of people are kind of chucking it on Adam Ida. I'm not quite ready to do that yet, mostly because yous have convinced me to back him to score 20 league goals and be the top scorer. So I'm not turning in Adam Ida yet, but some of his touches at times is quite ridiculous. We need wingers in desperately, but we've known this. We've known this since, I don't know, Jota became injured in May. They knew Kuhn wanted to leave in May, so we've known it for over 2 months, and they've done nothing apart from get laughed at by go-ahead egos. I mean, it's such sackable stuff for people earning outrageous amounts of money to get laughed at by go-ahead egos. But I could rant and rave about the board forever. It's funny, just a quick shout out to Danny, not Danny on the pod, Danny we met in Lunches, who noticed me and then decided to jump back into listening, and he jumped into the fact that he used to listen to us during the COVID season. So some amount of people still come up and talk to us about that. Hopefully this season is nothing like that. But Danny, as it stands, I'm not overly confident. I just have a bad feeling. I know you're more optimistic, so you can end the show for us, please.
I'm more optimistic because I've got faith in Rodgers, but I will admit, I do think Rodgers has lost a bit of his magic touch. It's not quite the same as it was the first time he was here. Don't get me wrong, I thought last year we were outstanding, but for most of the season I thought we were really good. But since kind of Bayern have put us out of Europe, we seem to just trudge along. And like everybody else, we all make quick judgments about players. We can't help ourselves. I did have a few scoops in us on Sunday. I thought Negren was good, but I had him doing as a neat and tidy merchant rather than somebody exciting. I thought in the first 20 minutes he was going to burst onto the game and take the game by the scruff of the neck, and then he just seemed to be... He looked like Engels for me. Gets the ball, keeps it nice and simple. Obviously there's place in your team for that, but we've got 4 or 5 players like that in the team, whereas most good teams have only got one. The option just to go backwards was on far too often for the players. Sometimes, like, McGregor had all the time in the world and he would play to Carter Vickers, and then 6 minutes later maybe he's getting it back half scales, and I just thought they didn't move the ball a bit quicker. But I'm optimistic. I think our 11 has got to beat most. Obviously it'll beat most 11s in the league. I think it'll still be good enough to win the league, but it shouldn't be a coin flip, really. We should be going out and doing everything we can to make sure that the manager and the team are well equipped. As things stand, as you say about the Champions League, getting into the Champions League with this squad it's a bold risk to take. This squad going into the qualifier, you would expect them to beat anybody, you'd expect them to go through, but it's merely a 60-40 rather than a kind of 80-20 it would be if the team was properly equipped. So they're taking a massive risk, but even if you get into it with this squad, you're looking at maybe, and I mean, there's every chance the draw is going to be less kind to us this year. Not that we got an easy draw last year, because we still had to beat some really good teams, and we played well in a lot of the games, but the chances are we're going to get a more difficult draw. And with that squad, you're looking on the back of, even with Pusey in the team, you're looking on the back of 4 or 5 drubbins maybe. And I thought we turned a corner. I know we get done in Dortmund last year, but the rest of the campaign was a clear fucking turn around for that sort of form. But if we're going back to that and you're just whipping boys, then what's the point? The board are happy, they're getting their money, but what are we getting? Do you know what I mean? It's us at it's fucking front, the sort of results. Nobody wants to watch their team get humped all the time. So you did ask me to be optimistic. I was at Hearts Aberdeen last night. I thought Aberdeen played quite well. Have absolutely nothing up front. The boy on the right wing, I think he's at Milanovic, he had a really good game. But again, they'd nothing up front. I think the big boy that he signed, he was a big daddy. So no doubt he'll get a hat-trick on Sunday now. But I thought they looked like the exact same team they were last year. They'll be tough to beat. They're well organised. Hold on to the ball quite well, but they'll probably be stuffy and hard to beat, which we seem to really struggle with. It wasn't as if St Mirren surprised us on Sunday because you knew exactly how they were going to line up, and yet we still made hard work of it. But no, I know you don't want to give predictions. I think we might be fine. Having seen what I seen for Aberdeen last night, if they were to play like that again, I think we'll be fine, even with the squad we've got. But you don't want to look too far ahead in the future. But where are we at? 2 or 3 injuries in that squad away feel like a serious fucking crisis, and that's just not good enough at this point. It's just not good enough, and we really need to. And I know the transfer window doesn't shut for another 4 weeks and blah blah. That doesn't mean you need to take every fucking last second. That doesn't mean you need to take every last day of the transfer window and sign six players. Even signing players. I know the European deadline's in 8 or 9 days. Even that, you want to get these players in this week because you maybe want to give them a run out against Falkirk in the Cup or God forbid Aberdeen on Sunday before they need to, throwing players into Champions League games would be a risk as well. So who knows? It's a long week.
Jumping for joy as we get into the Aberdeen game. Even managed to get the Dortmund drubbing in there, and that was nearly a year ago. Do I think Forest will play on Sunday? Yes. You'll play ahead of Yang, which is Forest or Yang in the year of 2025. Right, we'll end it there. We've got no optimism for anybody. Thanks very much if you've made it this far. Hopefully the 4As will be back for a full preview of the Aberdeen game. Thanks very much. Bye-bye. Hail, hail.